Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday to you. Today is an awesome day. Thank you for being here. You know what? Before I go a little bit too much further, hey, do me a favor. If you can hear me and see me, put in the chat where you coming from. So I'm gonna look at the chat, and the reason I like to know where people are coming from, because we have people come from all over the United States and sometimes outside the United States to be here today on this special Saturday. And we like to let you know that you can ask questions. So that's how you get to ask questions is by putting the question in the chat. So by you exercising that, that kind of gives you a little bit quick practice that you can ask questions in the chat. And so I see people already putting stuff in there. Thank you for doing that. At least now I know that y'all can hear me. So we got Bronx, New York showing up today, Crown Heights, Seattle, Washington. Hey, Eagle Mountain, Utah showing up today, Washington, D.C. Hey, there we go. Outside the United States, we got Canada representing today. Awesome. New York is showing up. Hey, Detroit, Michigan is showing up. Hey, Waldorf, Maryland is also here. Oh yeah, keep telling us where you're coming from. As you starting to do that, we appreciate that. And I just want to say thank you, Scott Buckles. You see the flyer today? Well, we got a special one for you, but none of this would have came together if it wasn't for Scott. Scott is also a real estate investor. He's moving and shaking, and he put this together, and I am so thankful for that. And so, Scott, thank you for putting this together. Uh, Man, much love for you. He's been doing this. I want to say this is going on his seventh year. So he was doing this before COVID, and he had that vision. And I'm so grateful that he was able to put this together because why? We get to talk to investors who are actually in action right now. And then today, oh my goodness, today was is a good one. Oh, there's so much I want to say about Umair, who's our special featured investor. Normally, what we do on a Saturday like this, we actually do what we call a property tour, where we're talking to an investor and they are walking through their property, and we get to see the probably the beginning state, the middle state, or the end of their process and journey. But today is special because Umair is going to actually really just talk to us about the strategy because he's done so many, but specifically this strategy that you see on your screen about mobile home parks, and he has a wealth of knowledge. And I'm just so excited to be able to hear his story that he's going to share with us. So let me tell you right now, the first thing you want to do is make sure you have pen and paper, right? You want to have something to take some notes. At the same time, go ahead and tell the person thank you who invited you to this meeting because you're going to learn so much and you don't want to be like feel like you took all this information and didn't say thank you, right? We were brought up the right way, right? So just go ahead and tell them thank you, and this is going to be awesome. And then as you start to hear, because there's some people here, this is their first time here, maybe the last, been looking at us for some time, and you really want to dive into like, I really want to get started. I really want to do. Tell the person who invited you to get you connected to the next meeting that really kind of plugs you in. So I'm looking at we got Chicago, we got Atlanta, New York, we got Virginia. Awesome. So I'm all choked up, Umair. If you don't mind coming on out, because I am so ready for you to share your information that you want to share with us, because uh, I really appreciate that. Because I want to make sure I have my pen and paper to get started. So Umair, if you don't mind coming out, because we have some people here today, as you know, who are still thinking about real estate investing. They're not 100% sure what they want to do, but they want to do something. But you have this unique thing that you want to talk to us about in this mobile home park. So if you don't mind coming out, my friend, so that way you can share with us and just people want to get to know you, right? Because you know how it is when people really want to understand real estate investing, they hear about all this stuff, but they never get to talk to somebody. And today we have a chat open where people can ask questions and just really just understand. So, my friend, if you don't mind coming out, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Keith, thank you, man. I just want to say how much I appreciate you. I've seen you grow, you and LaFay grow as real estate investors. We met back in, I think it was 2019, and I'm just so proud of what your family is creating for yourselves, right? You've taken control. You guys are doing deals in your retirement account. You guys are doing deals with your rentals, and it's just really nice to be part of this group and community. So I wanted to thank you for helping to support our community because it means a lot. I wanted to say that before we get started, right? Passing that down. So, guys, welcome. I want to thank you for being here. Like Keith said, my name is Umair. I was born and raised in Virginia. and didn't do so well in school. I struggled through elementary school, high school, and then I was going to community college, Nova Community College here in Virginia, when I found out about this real estate investor community that you're learning about today. And it was tough, paying for college when you have a family that doesn't really have money to help you is super, super difficult. I mean, guys, I don't know who's completed college, but even community college was $350 a credit. And I think I needed 60 or 70 credits just to get an associate's degree. So it was really, really expensive. And I wasn't guaranteed a job, if that makes sense. I remember thinking to myself, what kind of job am I going to land with just an associate's degree? It was going to cost me over 30 grand just to get my associate's degree. So I found this group. They gave me the knowledge, the resources, the tools, and most important, the environment to help support me on my journey in real estate investing. I've done wholesale deals, I've done fix and flips, I've done raw land development. I've done rent to own deals for people who can't get a traditional bank loan, but nothing comes close to mobile home park investing. Okay. And I am going to make that very, very clear today, specifically what's happening in our economy, what's happening globally and economically. Um, More investors in the mobile home park space are needed. So it's an opportunity for every one of us to make a ton of money, provide a lot of value, and create an impact for the greater good. Okay. So where should I even start? Today is just a really an open conversation. I want to encourage you guys to ask me questions, but some of the reasons why I fell in love with not because I've done the wholesale, I've done the fix and flip, I've looked at a lot of different ways of making money in the real estate investing space. I've played around with Airbnb arbitrage or short-term rentals, and I've literally tried every single model that there is. And when I compare it to the mobile home park space, um, it just doesn't come close, right? Now, there's some pros and cons with every strategy that an investor does, but you know, I'm going to go into why mobile home parks. So let's just talk about the comparison of becoming an apartment building investor, where you buy 20 units, 15 units, 30 unit apartment buildings. Let's compare those to a mobile home park where you can buy 15, 20, or 30 units. All right. Now, for those people who live in an apartment building, a lot of times, from what I've seen, they don't like to be surrounded by other people. You can hear people through the walls. Most people want to have their own living space, their own front yard, their own backyard. So when I compared the two, I was like, from a customer standpoint, the end customer standpoint, many times people are happier living in a community, especially if it's run appropriately, and they're happier having their own front and backyard. Reason number two, or another reason, and as I'm talking, guys, please give your feedback, right? I'm so open to having this conversation. Reason number two is when you invest in the mobile home park space, you're not going to see as much turnover. Okay. There is a 50% turnover when it comes to apartment building investing, right? The people come and they go, they come and they go. And then you have to do the turnover on each unit in that apartment building. You don't have to do that with mobile home parks, right? Because especially there's lots of ways that mobile home park investors make money on one park. But one of the ways that investors make money is they charge what we call lot rent. Okay. You don't own the home. You own the dirt. Okay. And so owners of these mobile homes will pay you for lot rent. Okay. So once you park a mobile home inside of a good community, inside of a good park, moving those homes could be drastically expensive. Okay. It's like five, six, even 7 grand sometimes just to take a mobile home and move it from one place to another. So you're not going to get much turnover, if any. And now let's say, so I can go, let's actually go through the 6 steps and let me see if I could find this on my desktop. I just thought about this. I can go through a training that I did because I want you guys to understand the different streams of income that are you're gonna get with a mobile home park. Let's do that. Uh, if I could find this, uh, let me see, guys. I should have thought about this
Yeah,
beforehand.
one of the things that Bill Homey said is that it's tough to move a mobile home once it's placed.
Right. Bill, you're on. So Bill Omi is one of our instructors and really one of my heroes. If it wasn't for Bill, I'd still be investing. Bill taught me how to replace my paycheck. So Bill, thank you. Big shout out for you, and I really appreciate your support. Cash flow, baby. Yes. So, let me see if I could find this for us guys on my desktop here. Because I want to be able to share this with you. Or you know what I'll do? I've got a lot of trainings here that I'm going to be talking about in my upcoming class, but let's talk about the 6 income streams that you're going to earn as a mobile home park investor. Okay, is this old or new? I've made so many different, that's not the right one. One moment.
Yeah, so as we're waiting for, as Umair is pulling that up, if you have some questions, because some of y'all already came with questions in your mind already. So go ahead and put that in the chat, and as we'll get to it, you don't want to wait till we get too late because we may run out of time. So
Okay. Yeah, it's a good idea. So I've just pulled this up and I just want to show you guys how many different income streams you can make. Like guys, think about this. Instead of just buying an apartment building, you can buy a whole neighborhood for what some people buy a townhouse for. Like where I live here in Virginia. Can you guys see my PowerPoint, Keith? You can see
yes,
just
I can see
the,
it. Yes.
okay. So, guys, imagine buying a whole neighborhood that creates multiple income streams for you and your family to live off of. Just imagine that. So, you can buy a neighborhood for the cost that other people would buy one house for. Okay, so let's talk about this. So, 6 income streams, and I will keep the chat box open in case you guys have any questions, because I really want you to understand the power of this. And please remember this as an investor, your job is to do opposite of what the masses are doing. Okay, if you don't remember anything, please remember this. If you look historically at every single crash, monetary crash in American history, whether it was a stock market crash, or it was a real estate crash, or it was the price of precious metals crashing. If you look at every single crash, more millionaires were created during that crash than in any time before, right? So when everyone's going away from something, you should be going towards it, okay? Like imagine how much money you would have made if you bought a ton of real estate during the last real estate crash. Remember when the real estate market crashed between 2006 and 2010? Well, no one wanted to touch real estate. I've literally got friends of mine who bought properties from the bank, bought portfolios of properties from the bank, and did nothing but just sit on those portfolios. And now, guys, they're multi freaking millionaires. Okay. When the stock market crashed in 1987, when there's bubbles, the only time people lose is when they follow what everyone else is doing. So I noticed that as an investor, and I said, you know what? There's a lot of people making flashy, they're going into flashy things like fix and flips, or they want to chase this big money. But I wanted to go towards something that no one was really even looking at, and that's mobile home park investing. Yeah, Deborah, that's a good comment. She goes, it hurts to think about what we missed. My friends always do opposite. There you go. Warren Buffett, be greedy when people are fearful and fearful when people are greedy. Great. All right, guys. So let's talk about the sit. I wanted to put that out there. Always do opposite of what you see everyone else doing, and I think you'll be okay. All right. All right. So one park, multiple streams of income. Okay. Multiple streams of income. Let's talk about this. today I want to show you guys how you can literally create your own cash flow ecosystem by owning a neighborhood. So the main way, like, so there's private equity companies and hedge funds, and there's big funds that buy mobile home parks, and their their number one thing that they're focused on, guys, or what most mobile home park investing is about, is just earning lot rent. But I don't look at it as just learning earning lot rent. That's just owning the land and renting the dirt, right? When I got into mobile home park investing, I started looking at all the different ways that we can make money. So lot rent is the foundation, right? When you buy a park, you own the dirt, you rent the dirt for other people to put their homes on. Okay. But when I looked at this, I was like, well, you can rent the mobile homes. So you can own the dirt and you can charge for the lot rent, but you can actually own the mobile homes and you can rent out the homes within your own park, right? So then my cash flow became greater. Okay. So you can earn money with lot rent. You can earn money with renting mobile homes that you own in your own park, right? It's called POH, park owned homes. So there's park owned homes, and there could be TOH, tenant owned homes. You can have both in one park. Okay. The third one is, guys, if you buy a mobile home park, and let's say it's dilapidated, it's ugly, it's not taken care of, either you or other investors can flip mobile homes in the neighborhood that you own and control now. Okay. So you can start, like when I started, I have some mobile home parks that they were just in really bad shape. So I fixed up some of the homes, did some repairs, and then I flipped those homes to other investors that wanted to earn a yield, for example, in their retirement plans. Okay. So you can literally flip homes in the park that you own, or you could invite other investors to help you flip the homes in your own park and create a better community, right? We're providing affordable housing, which is a huge need in America right now, right? Have you seen how expensive housing is? So, mobile home park investing is a solution to the affordable housing crisis that we're facing here. So, number four, as you own the homes, right? Let's say you don't want to fix and flip them, but you own the park, but you've got all these dilapidated homes in this park that you bought at a deep discount. You can wholesale some of the homes in your own park to other investors. So you just make a fee. You're still going to earn lot rent. You basically wholesale a home in your own park and you make some money, right? So that increases your revenue for your mobile home park business. Okay. So you wholesale homes within your own park. It's been great, right? So mobile home park investing has allowed me to take all of the strategies that I've learned through our group throughout the year and just put them in one big income stream. Okay, let me check the chat box before I get to the other two. So I got a question here. Is that either or? You wouldn't charge lot rent and rent for the home, right? No, they are both separate things. I have separate agreements for the lot rent because that's you're renting the dirt. And then if I own the home, I have a separate rental agreement for the renting of that actual home that I own. So great question there. I love it. Okay. No, number five. So I've learned a lot of creative real estate investing. And sometimes if I have a park owned home, but I don't want to own it any longer, and I want to double or triple my money on it with no work, that's when I'll do what we call lease options and seller financing. And I learned a lot. I learned to do this from a guy who's on, like I said, Bill Omi taught me so much. He's one of our fellow instructors. And he's taught me so much about number five, guys. I have made an absolute killing in cash flow, financing homes to other people. Okay. So you can do creative financing within your own park. Okay. So I've got a home, maybe I own it and I'm renting it for a while, and then a deserving buyer wants to own that home. I'm like, okay, I'm going to charge a down payment and then I'm going to finance that home to the end buyer over time. And if you guys understand banks and financing and amortization schedules, you know as an investor that that property that I financed is going to earn me a huge return over time. And the best part is, guys, it's passive, 100% passive. So where novice real estate investors just want to charge lot rent, I'm creating cash flow and wealth by implementing all the strategies that this real estate group has taught me. Right? It's absolutely gold. It's like I have so many exit strategies with one area, right? I can flip homes, I can charge lot rent, I can rent homes, I can wholesale stuff. I can create a greater good for the overall economy. And there's just not one thing I see uh, that is negative about this, right? So, number six, as you grow your mobile home park business, what I'm doing now, and we're going to talk about this in detail in my class coming up, is I'm creating a property management business, right? So as you'll learn as an investor, there's two types of income. Write these down if you don't remember these, right? Two different types of income that I want you guys to remember. There's active or operational income, right? That's revenue that comes in from like a business. That's you're right. And then there's passive income, okay? Operational income, passive income. What I like about investing in mobile home parks is you get the best of both worlds because you can create active income through like management, through rental, through flipping homes, through wholesaling, but you can also create that passive income through seller financing and renting. You guys see what I'm saying? So when you own a mobile home park, you own a cash flowing ecosystem where you can do every single thing that real estate investing entails in your own park. How amazing is that? You can't do that with apartment buildings, can you? No. Oh, no, no,
Umair,
no.
you laid out, oh my God, you just unraveled some things that's like really, really awesome and how you just talked about how the mobile home park. And so I'm just really curious, and I'm wondering if you're curious too, the people who's online today, have they thought about mobile homes and what's actually keeping them from actually even doing mobile homes? I'm just curious if y'all are in the chat right now, you like, man, one through six, that is like really awesome. Just in one, owning a whole neighborhood, that's like that's really awesome. So I'm looking at the chat right now because what are some of your questions about, or what are some of your fears of even thinking about mobile homes? I'm just looking at the chat right now because I know a lot of y'all are thinking about that. I know like one of my things, Umair, was like I didn't really understand mobile homes because I'm so used to a stick building and that's what I'm always seeing. I just and society always told me that mobile homes wasn't the greatest too. So that was
I'll
kind of like
talk
one of my
about that.
fears. So I think we got a couple of them coming in right now.
Okay.
If you want to go ahead and look at them and kind of work on it.
Yeah, well, first let's address your question, right? Like
Okay.
they built this whole stigma around mobile home parks, trailer trash, blah, blah, blah. And I want you to just, because psychology is very, very important. Why do you guys believe municipalities, neighborhoods, counties, and all across the country, why do you guys think we were conditioned or we started to become conditioned to think that way? Well, one of the answers is this. There's many answers, but one of the biggest answers is this. Cities and counties do not make as much money on mobile homes as they would with a traditionally stick built house because mobile homes are considered what personal property, right? So the municipalities don't traditionally make as much tax revenue because even after you pay off your house you're still going to have to pay your the taxes on your house, right? But with a mobile home, it's technically considered a vehicle. So the a lot of jurisdictions stopped welcoming mobile home parks because they don't make as much tax revenue, right? So that's one of the big things. But now things are starting to shift and change, and we're starting to see more counties across the country open up to mobile home parks, and that's because of the affordability crisis that we're having. So I actually am negotiating in an area that I'm investing in South Carolina. I have made the tax assessor's office my partner. And so if I'm an out-of-town investor, they wanted to charge me, what is it, like 6 or 7% in taxes per home. But after I went through my plan and how I wanted to create jobs and how I wanted to clean up the park, they dropped my taxes even lower because they know if they have good people in their towns with good paying jobs, then ultimately they're going to make more money, right? So I tried to teach them about playing the long game. So I was like, you guys can earn short-term income and charge me more as an investor, or we can play the long game and we can clean up this town together. So when I started talking to the tax assessor's office about this grand plan, they decreased the amount of taxes that I'm paying. And and by decreasing the amount of taxes that I'm paying per mobile home, my cash flow went up. Does that make sense? So there is a stigma, or there was a stigma, but because the world is changing, mobile home parks are looking at people are looking at mobile home parks from a completely different lens. Okay. So let me take a look. Hopefully that answered the
Yeah, I
question.
appreciate it. Yeah. So Scott has one in there. He talks about
Okay,
like
here it
the
goes.
correct. Yep, you got it.
What criteria, cash flow, geographical location do you concentrate when searching? So if you guys are familiar with this, and I'm going to break it down in my class, but there's A class, B class, C class, and even D class parks, right? My primary focus is C class and D class parks because that's the only place that I can go to provide value, right? I can make those like just like if you want to get into fixing and flipping properties, you want to buy the crappiest property on the nicest block and fix it up, right? Because when you fix the real estate, you do forced appreciation. So I'm looking at markets that are depressed, that no one is going to look at, that people are scared of, because I want to go towards what most people won't, so I can have what most people never will. Does that make sense? So I'm focusing on those markets. Now I'm in Virginia. The market's very, very expensive until you go deep down in the South. And I'm focusing on those depressed markets where I can actually help. Okay. Mobile home park, land lease rents in my area range from 1,500 to, wow, that's amazing, right? Imagine if you can go into those parks and start flipping houses in those parks or start a relationship with the management in that area. Dana says, where do you look for investment opportunities? Dana, I use something called the investor operating system. That's how I use artificial intelligence to locate parks. That's how I get in contact with my sellers many times. I'm not looking where everyone else is looking, guys. Are you starting to notice a common theme? I don't do what everyone else does. I'm not looking on the Zillows or the Redfin because everyone and their mom is looking there. I had to figure out, or I had to pay for systems and processes that not everyone is using. So good question there. How important is to know different strategies and how to, and the lack thereof strategy knowledge will help discourage one from looking. You got to know what you're doing, Jerry. Yeah, because if you walk into a buying a neighborhood or a mobile home park and you don't understand exit strategies, if you don't understand management, if you don't have a true process behind what you're doing, you can lose money big time, big time. And you don't want to get stuck in a negative cycle of losing money, right? That's really like when I got started with real estate investing, it's why I joined this community because I wanted to be around other investors. I wanted to know what other investors were doing that's working. I wanted to have coaching. Like, I didn't want to just do this by myself. There was only so many hours of YouTube videos and books that I could read to help me get to where I want to go. So you got to know what you're doing in this business or you're going to get hurt. How do you determine in general what to offer on a park? Is it based on ARV or other parks or cap rate? So, thanks, Sharon. So, Sharon, mobile home parks are considered commercial property, right? So anything 5 units and up is considered commercial. And so it's evaluated not how you would evaluate a residential property. And so it's evaluated based off of cap rates and cash flow and all the things that you're going to learn with me in my class is the cap rates, debt service coverage ratio, calculating your NOI, your GOI, and all this stuff. All they are measuring sticks. We're going to teach you how to match what you want with your investment criteria because what works for Keith and what Keith's goals are in life might be very different from what Umair's goals are in life. Does that make sense? So what I love about this group, guys, is that there is no cookie cutter approach. You want to build your real estate investing business around your wants, needs, and goals. Okay. And that's what this group helps people do. So to answer the question, Sharon, it is based off of the commercial approach, which is it's called the income approach. So when they go do a commercial appraisal, they look at the net operating income, they look at the operating expenses, they look at what's going to be left over after debt service, and they determine the value off of the income, not comps. And sometimes it's mixed because I don't know if you guys knew this, but there is a multitude of different types of appraisals that banks do depending on what you're asking for. There's not one type of appraisal. I don't know if you guys knew that. Okay, parks, are you person? Okay. How does the lending community treat? Oh, good question. So so getting financing for mobile home parks traditionally has been very difficult, but man, things are starting to change. Did you know that there are lenders? Like, so if I want to buy and I'm doing this, I'm going to show you guys how. If I want to buy a brand new mobile home on my own financing and then resell it to someone else, I can do that. And now lenders are starting to open up to financing mobile homes within parks. But traditionally, it's been a lot harder. Even not Fannie and Freddie, but like FHA, HUD, they're opening up to lending to people in mobile home parks. They're called chattel loans. You guys can look into chattel loans. Um, do you also look into land that's suitable for mobile? Oh, Daisy, what an awesome question. Yeah, I'm looking at because there's an affordability crisis right now. I'm looking at cheap land that I could buy and put homes on and then resell those homes. A lot of my friends and family laugh, but this group taught me how to be a bank, right? And this is how I've built my wealth. I've created Bank of Umerica, where other people come to me with their problems and I could finance them by understanding some of these strategies that the group teaches. You know how cool it is to say that you're a bank, that you could finance people, that you can solve their problem. In Bill Omi's words, other people look at you as a superhero, right? They really do, man. They're like, man, you're a thank you for helping me and my family. So, Daisy, I'm looking for more land. I'm looking for more parks. This has just been so exciting to be able to live off of your real estate portfolio and not have to clock in and out of work, to be able to spend more time with your family, to have the freedom to travel, to actually get back to loving each other and just being present. Like it feels so good to be a real estate investor. And it feels even better to say that I invest in mobile home parks. Okay. Bank of America, baby. Cool. Hopefully, this is helping you guys see the value and see the vision of you getting into real estate investing. Now, guys, it's not always sunshines and rainbows. You are going to fail and you're going to fail forward. You're going to learn some things. You're going to adjust. But through this process, look, if I tell people this, if you can commit to investing for 3 to 7 years max, you can hit the numbers that you need to have freedom. But it's not going to happen overnight. I started back in 2015. I can't believe it's 2025. But it was my journey has been so much more rewarding than just going and getting a degree and working for someone else, hoping for a 1% raise every year, right? A lot of times you hear people say it's not about the end game, it's about the journey and it's about who you end up becoming. And it's so cliche, but I could say that it's absolutely true. Because of real estate investing, I'm a better friend, a better husband, a better brother, because you learn and you grow.
Man, that's awesome, Umair. And I mean, this is what you're sharing is really awesome. And again, it's interesting as you was answering the questions, you still had your 1 through 6 there, and you was hitting like individual pieces of it as you kind of walk through your strategy. So
Yeah.
a question may people may be wondering is when you first got when you first got started, what was it like? Like what was some people may think that you always started in real estate investing, like you always knew all of this kind of stuff. You talked about education, you talked about the community, but what were you kind of going through when you was actually walking? Did somebody help you walk through this process as you were learning? Because a lot of people want to know how to implement. They talk about learning, 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 but how do you implement? Can you kind of help us with that piece of implementing these strategies?
Yeah, and as you were talking, two things really came to my mind. I'll never forget the day that my life changed completely emotionally. Back in 2014, 13, I wasn't married then. I was dating a girl, right? And we took a trip to the beach, okay? And I was so broke at the time that we were really tired. We didn't want to drive home, and we had to get a hotel, right? Ocean City, I had to get a hotel. And I was so broke that I just didn't have money to pay for a hotel for me and my girlfriend to stay in. Um, I don't even like talking about it because I go back there emotionally. This day changed my life. My girlfriend had to pay for a room for us to stay in, and that I didn't even sleep that whole night. I didn't sleep that whole night. I stayed up like, what kind of man am I if I can't provide? And then I wanted to get married. I wanted to have kids. Obviously, it wasn't with that girl, right? I've got an amazing wife, but that moment of being not able to afford something really hurt my heart. And that day I made a decision. The word decide, deci means to cut off. So I cut off every other possibility other than me getting into this business and doing something for myself. And that's the moment where my life changed. I'll never forget that day. Now, getting into my first park, my first wholesale deal was scary. My first fix and flip was scary. But getting into my first park, oh man, I drove 8 hours from Virginia to meet our instructor, Bill Omi, down there. He's such an amazing guy that he drove and he met me at this park. And when I got there, I thought I was in a third world country. Look, not all of America looks the same, guys. I'm from Northern Virginia. Things are clean. The grass is cut. The air, I mean, like, I'm in the middle of nowhere, South Carolina, in this mobile home park where the grass is overgrown. The mobile homes are like barely standing. It's like there's rust everywhere. And I'm looking at the instructor and I'm looking at Bill Omi like, this has got to be a joke. And Bill, you can talk about this, man. You remember this. And I'm driving and talking to Bill. I'm like, oh my God, I drove 8 hours. And so I'm talking to the owner of it, and she wants it was a really cheap park. It was like 80 grand or something for like 8 lots. I'm like looking around, like, all right, I can't wait to get back home to my wife. This is like there's bugs
Yeah.
everywhere,
Can I tell him the story?
Please tell him the story.
Okay, okay.
You tell him the story.
So here's the story. So I had a whole this is why the community is so important. So I had a wholesaler that I've been working with, and he had a trailer park. And he says, "Hey, you interested in this trailer park in South Carolina?" I go, I'm busy, but I know this guy who might be interested." So I call up Umair. I go, "Hey, you want to go see a trailer park in South Carolina?" And he goes, "I don't know, what?" I go, "I'll meet you there. We'll go over there." It was just during COVID, right? Because we couldn't do anything. So I said, "I'll meet you over there." So we went over this trailer park, and Umair is like, his eyes are wide open. He's like, "What the heck am I doing here? This isn't any good." And I'm getting all excited because I'm running the numbers. And I'm like, holy crap, he's going, this is a good deal. And so I said, this is a great deal. I said, let me run you the numbers. I ran him the numbers and I said, if you do this deal, you're going to have no money in the deal. You're going to have no work in the deal. And you're going to make like 3,000 bucks a month on this trailer park. And he's like, wow, I didn't look at it that way. I said, in fact, this is such a good deal. If you don't do it, I'm going to do it. And that's when he did it.
Because I was about to walk away from the
He's about
numbers,
to
right?
walk away. And I kept, and because I'd already been dealing with rural investing and I'm looking around and going, this is a cash machine, man. This is a little gold mine. And then he just took off. He did his first one. And now how many you got? Three or four or five now?
Well,
You got,
I had five,
okay.
but I sold one.
Okay.
And you're probably like, Umair, are you crazy? Why'd you sell these things? Well, guys, sometimes when the offer is good enough, you take it. So I sold one and I'm repositioning that capital in another park. So I've got four right now, but looking to buy more. But Bill, when he looked at me, when I'm all wide-eyed kid, and when he looks at me, he goes, "If you don't buy it, I will." I was like, "Okay, no, I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it." So
That's what it
that
took.
day, I signed the contract and I said, "I'm buying this thing." So that was great. Thanks for sharing, Bill. And
You're welcome.
you have no idea how much I appreciate you, man. Like it's so cool that our instructors, and that's why like I want to be able to give back the same way Bill gave to me. I mean, we want to push people to their greatness and see them actually create the cash flow so they can live a better life. Because ultimately, that's what it's about, guys. Living a life by design instead of submitting to a life by default. And you can do that through this process. Cool. Man, this has been awesome, guys. Oh, so I've got one more. I need to finish this slide and then we'll keep it going, right? Um, so Deborah says, have you considered storage containers for your parks? I have, and I looked into those, but the cost that it takes to get a storage container insulated and all the work done is a lot more than what I could buy a used mobile home for and fix it up. But good question, Deborah, right? Like I literally looked into container homes and tiny houses and all kind of stuff. So I cannot wait to share with you guys the numbers of how I've worked out improving parks and the financing. Bill, I'm gonna actually send it to you on those new homes. I've figured it out, I think. I really have, but I need you to pick it apart. So it's gonna be great. Okay, so let's finish this. So these are the six main income streams that you can earn when you own an actual mobile home park. Okay. Now, as you acquire the parks, there's what we call value add income. Okay. Now, as you're buying your parks, you want to see if there's room for expansion. Okay. But value add income is landscaping and lawn care fees. Believe it or not, the people that live there are so lazy that they're willing to pay 50 bucks to have someone cut their grass. But 50 times 30 lots increases my revenue. And I can pay a portion of that revenue or even a small fraction of that revenue to a guy to come cut their yard. Isn't that cool? So so this is what we call value add income. Could you cut the grass for an owner in an apartment building? I don't think so. This is why I prefer mobile home parks over apartment buildings all freaking day, right? All day. So landscaping and lawn care fees, management income. Remember, if you have a management company that produces operational income, right? Now you might even have a separate entity that manages that parks, right? And so you're going to start learning about entity structure and how to, we say this, you got to learn how to control everything and own nothing. So own nothing, control everything, build wealth. Own nothing, control everything, build wealth. So you got landscaping, lawn care fees, management income, and then community expansion income. Imagine if you buy a park, and we're going to talk about zoning and permitting and grandfathering and all these things in my class. But if you buy a park and it could actually be rezoned or you can expand it, or let's just say the park is a total of 50 lot park, but only 26 lots are actually filled. Well, you can raise capital, give your investors a rate of return on their money, make that park better, increase the revenue, and that's what I call community expansion income. Okay. Now, some parks have city sewer and city water, which I prefer, but if you have well and septic, if you own the water, then there's some ways that you can create some revenue with that as well. So cool. I think 1 hour has gone by. We've got about 15 minutes. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that might be left over. I hope this was some value to you guys. I have a class that I'm teaching on the in and outs of mobile home park investing from A to Z. I'm going to be giving you guys action steps, 90-day action plans. I'm going to do everything that I know to help get you into your first park as soon as possible. Even if it's 8 hours away from you, it doesn't matter because we are living in 2025 and you can automate and duplicate anything through technology. Okay. It
Well,
does not
hey,
have to
Mary,
be.
I'm glad you said that because that's where you got a couple people say, "Hey, you can come to Detroit and come check out their market." But Deborah, I'm not sure. I may have missed it, but Deborah asked a question about the difference between, I guess, trailer park, manufactured homes, mobile homes. Are these different in zoning and regulations? I guess it was kind of.
Yep. I actually have a whole phase of my class where I break down the differences between the three. Mobile homes, manufactured homes, and modular homes. All three different things, all three different classifications, and they're all looked at in a different way.
Yep, she says she's excited to hear your class. But you know what, Mary, I know you are a really busy person, and I know probably some more questions are coming in. Um, I just want to go ahead and just say again, thank you. Just from just thank you. You shared a
Of
lot
course,
of
man.
nuggets. You
You
helped
know how
with the mindset.
you know how everyone can thank me? One thing you can do for me is go out there, use the system, and go do deals. Right? That's how you can thank me. I will be so honored if you took the course, took action, and actually bought your first park because of what you learned. That would make me so proud.
All right, you know what? Let's look at the chat. Are y'all up for the challenge that Umair just put out there? Because I want to thank him.
Yeah.
We're gonna look at the chat and see what people are saying. Yeah.
Yeah, let's get it going, guys. Let's provide value. Let's provide housing. Let's help other people and build wealth while we're at it. Everyone wins. Everyone wins.
Well, you know what? This is awesome. I know you got a busy
And
schedule.
let me just say this. I see Melinda's on. Hi, Melinda. Like, Melinda, you know the model you're doing with the rent to own that Bill Omi taught us? Well, now you could do that same model and you could do 15 of them in one location. How cool would that be, Melinda? Let's go. You can hit your income goal in one deal, Melinda, right? You know how you're doing, you're doing what you've learned, but now you can do that model with the little houses that Bill teaches in one freaking park. What do you think about that, Bill? Right? We could do the little house model with mobile homes. That's essentially what number 6 was, right? 5.
That's awesome. So, Umair, so as we're getting close, yeah, at the top of the hour, again, just want to just again thank you. The challenges out there. A lot of people are really wanting to move forward. Um, you
I
call
love it,
it, I
Melinda.
like that in the chat.
He's a student that learns and does. It's all about taking action. No amount of
Awesome.
information is going to help you until you go out there and you do the stuff that you're learning. And we're here to help you every part of that way.
Well, you know, Umair, again, we have some folks as you know, this is their first time being here, right? And
Oh,
their
wow.
heads are probably like, "Whoa, I didn't realize that," right? And then you have some folks who are doing some things, but they want to take the game to the next level, right? And so we always like to end where the feature investor, as they were talking throughout, today, um, what encouragement can you give to somebody who's kind of still sitting on the fence? Either they want to get started or they doing some things, but really haven't scaled to where they want to, and they need that little motivation to kind of move on. What would you say to them?
I'm gonna tell you, I'm here with I'm at a new friend's house right now, and they're sitting over here with me, and I'd like to share sort of what we were talking about earlier, that in life you have to accept that it's gonna be hard. Okay, working a job is hard, working a business is hard. All right, it's gonna be hard. You just got to choose what hard you want to go towards, right? Like there's gonna be like every time you hit a mountain peak, you hit the top of the mountain, guess what? There's another level to the game, right? If you look at anything in life, there's levels. And so I would tell people to embrace the frustration. I told you guys are my team. Some of my team is on. I tell you, whenever you're frustrated is that's the best time, because if you can push past the frustration, that's where the magic is going to happen. Okay. Just like when you're trying to study something and you're studying for your SATs or whatever it is, you're frustrated, but you're so frustrated that your brain starts growing, your brain starts learning. But a lot of times in life, people get frustrated. Most people get frustrated and they quit. Instead of getting frustrated and quitting, get frustrated and fight. Because if you can get past the frustration, you're gonna notice your life change, guys. I can promise you that. I've been frustrated in my marriage. I didn't run from it. I embraced it. My marriage got better. I got frustrated in my business. I didn't run from it. I fought. My business got better. So if you're in a place right now where things are tough, maybe you don't have money, maybe cash flow is tight, maybe there's turbulence in your life, fight the fight, push through it, and go out there and make something of yourself. I wish you guys nothing but love and respect. I hope you get the opportunity to take part in my class, get to know other instructors like Mr. Cashel, Bill Omi. Bill, thank you for being here today. And I encourage every single one of you to take one action step today that pushes you towards what you want instead of away from what you want. Hopefully that helped.
Well, again, I appreciate it, Umair. Thank you for being here. Just awesome, awesome, awesome. Scott Buckles, thank you for putting this together. Hey, everybody, everybody's putting in the chat. Thank you, Umair. You can see in the chat. So again, thank you for sharing. And everybody, we see you next Saturday and do some great stuff. Enjoy your weekend.
Bye, guys. Have a great weekend. Thank you for being here. Bye, team.